Hey Taraso, welcome to the Fut-Afrique channel. Today I'm joined by two legends. I have to say, these are family members of mine on a different show, Game On. Yeah. You see them on Game On every Saturday on SABC1, talking everything football. Shane usually talks about the Premier League. Sees as the overall guy, comes in there.
Banging.
Shooting,
Yeah.
bang.
Yeah.
Banging.
I don't know what he's banging the tables, but it's something to do with banging.
He actually does that on the table all the time. He doesn't realize, but anyway.
My son was asking me, what is that guy banging? Guys, we have come to the end of a season now.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you think about it, generally Shane will say, at this time, you're not number one, everybody's saying, let's forget about it. But now, interesting enough, we still have so much to fight for. You're talking about from number 2 all the way to number 5. Mm-hmm. In fact, number 2 to number 7, all those teams can still qualify for CAF positions. And you talk about number 8 position is still undecided as yet. And then the playoff position, still undecided as well. Yeah. So those are the only two. The only two things you're sure about is insurance, SARS, life or death, and number 1 and number 16.
One more thing.
One more thing.
Load shedding is coming back soon.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You got to put a damper on everything.
It's going to really mess everything up.
You got to mess everything
Let's talk about the season. I mean, let's start at the bottom because it's a nicer conversation to have. I mean, you got Royal AM, we have Richards Bay. You know, the difference between the two teams at Royal AM has a very bad goal difference.
Yeah.
But they've got the points. Richards Bay, on the other hand, got a very good goal difference, but they don't have the points.
Yeah.
You know, they came to Joburg, won against Pirates. You all thought, wow, it's done.
Yeah.
Then they go and play their next game against Cape Town City. We've only won 2 matches this year, by the way. One against Richards Bay and the one before that. And then now, boom, they find themselves in the same problem again. Then you have Royal AM on the other hand. They drew their match where a win would have meant they're safe.
Yeah.
So now it goes on to the two teams. Royal AM in action against a save Moroka Swallows Football Club. Richards Bay against a Stellenbosch Football Club. They hasn't won a game in the last 4.
But have to
after
win.
the good run they had.
But
have to win to make sure they stay second. Let's start with you, Sizwe. Where do you see this one going?
I want to start with Richards Bay and Stellenbosch.
Yeah.
It's amazing when you have a young squad of talented players, which is what Barker has at Stellenbosch, what a big loss can do to sort of throw you off your way. But that big loss, I'm talking about the knockout in the Nedbank Cup semi-final against Sundowns.
Yeah.
Since then, they've struggled.
Yeah.
Still a very good team, still competing very hard. It's just not able to get the results they're looking for. But they're still playing very well and competing on. I'm not saying they have somehow lost their way altogether.
Yeah.
They still see the passion is there even against Swallows. Swallows just executed well. Against Sundowns, Sundowns executed well and defended well for that match as well. So it's amazing just how that loss has affected them and thrown them off. But they have to now, get it right against a Richards Bay that has so much to play for in as far as their futures, for the club, for their families, for themselves as the players, that for me, this is the game of the weekend. And all of those factors make it a very interesting game. This is the one game I really will be tuned into this weekend.
Shane, you Steve Barker, as a player, way back in your days, you have seen him.
Captain Barker.
Captain Barker. That's what Captain Barker. Let's put it right. Captain Barker. You have seen him go through all of this. You have seen him what he has done with Stellenbosch Football Club. What do you think is going through his mind now, given the fact that they had that massive run, 25-run, unbeaten run, and then they find themselves now having to play a match where they need to win for them to stay and be able to play in the CAF Champions League? A draw can still suffice provided Pirates loses, which is something you want to really be doing at the moment.
Yeah, it's difficult for him. You know, it's at the worst time has come that they've hit the bad form, and you're right. Since that cup game, they've gone backwards, and I'm not too sure why.
Yeah.
He needs to turn it around. You know, there's certain things you can do, certain things you got to look at. For me, I would just take my players' minds off the game, off football, let them go out and enjoy it, and give them that little bit of a break, refresh their minds, and just say, guys, forget about the pressure. Let's just go out and play. And that's the only way that they're going to get it right, I feel. You know, when you put pressure on yourselves, it makes it worse.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for them, that's what's been happening over the last few weeks. Because of that loss, they've seemed to stumble, and not get the results. But having said that, both teams don't look like they want to end up second.
Can I ask something?
You look at Pirates as well. I mean, they've had the opportunity, and twice they've given it up. You know, so it's a difficult one. Even at the bottom, it's the same thing. You know, teams could have, but they've given it up. So it's a difficult one.
Is it an emotional thing when you talk about Stellenbosch in particular? I'll say why I'm saying this is because remember when they played that game when they managed to get to 25? They had a big emotional thing where they said it is for Eshwin Andries. They played that passed away, who was wearing jersey number 25. And it was a huge thing for them. And Steve Barker came out and said, we did all of this for Eshwin Andries. Since then, they've never won a game. You know, the question is, how much of that, in a way, came in now because they drew, then they lost, and they lost, and they lost?
Yeah.
How do they therefore pick themselves up and get back to what we saw them do after they lost their last game against Sundowns, before they lost this last one? How do they pick themselves up? How do they come back and really start doing things again?
Well, for me, as I said to you, take your mind off the game. Forget about all the little things. Forget about that. I would, first of all, start off by doing some fun things with the players. Make them minds just relax a bit and get it off the football, get it off the pressure of the games, get it off everything else. We have to win to do that. No, because then you're putting yourself under pressure and players react differently to that. But for me, it's just go have fun and go do something different, completely different. And that's what I would do as a coach. I would take the guys and do something different. Go karting. Go down to the beach, have fun, play a little 6-a-side game there. Little things like that, just to get your mind off of everything. But at the end of the day, you can't be putting the pressure on. The pressure mustn't be there. As I say, certain people can play with pressure, others can't. For me, they just need to go back to their roots, go back to the way they were playing, go back to having fun, and that's the only way to go.
Sizwe, just on that one there, Richards Bay.
Yeah.
How do you therefore approach this game as coach with Musi Vilakazi? You know you have to win, but it's also, even if your win will not be good enough, if Royal M does get a point somewhere else. How do you therefore come up? Because it's a double-edged sword this time for you.
There's only one way to approach it, really. You have to win. You have to go into it with the mentality that they're going to lose. Royal M is not going to achieve their goals, and if you achieve yours, you will get through. That's the only way to approach it. You can't think, is Royal M going to win? And forget them. Do what you need to do, and let the pieces fall where they may. Again, just keep in mind, just in light of when you look at Pirates, Stellenbosch, their last run over the last few weeks, when you even look at the sides right at the bottom, the sides we're talking about now, Royal AM, as well as Richards Bay, every team you're playing against. In South African football, the nice thing is with the top 8 battle, the top 4 battle now, the Champions League and the Confederations Cup battle, to get in there as well, means everybody's still got something to play for. You're not going to play a team that's just coasting through now and just trying to finish the season. You're either trying to avoid relegation, or to get into top 8, or get into the top 4. Everybody is playing their hearts out right now. So that's why I believe we are at a point where you might win a game today as Swallows, an impressive win against Stellenbosch, and then drop points against SuperSport United. SuperSport still has something to play for. And as Richards Bay, you beat Pirates, and then you lose your next game. Pirates still have something to play for. No easy game. Everybody's playing as though it depends on it, as though their futures depend on it. Some of them are playing for their contracts as well come next season. So that's what's so interesting. Even though Sundowns have long won this season, that's why we're still talking DStv Premiership.
Swallows Royal AM. Morocco Swallows managed to get a win, which was very important ahead of their last match against Stellenbosch. Out of all the teams, they managed to win against Stellenbosch at home, which was a double for them, by the way, this campaign, Morocco Swallows. Then they find themselves in the next game against SuperSport United, who have now gone 4 matches and beaten SuperSport, something they're unheard of because they looked like a team that was out of it. Now they're back into the bigger picture where we're always talking now, bringing them in a conversation around CAF position as well, SuperSport United. How do you approach this game as Morocco Swallows, given the fact you're playing at your Royal M where you've got nothing to lose when you play that match? Is it all about placement, or you don't really care about it much? You're going to thinking about next season?
Well, you're looking at Swallows now. Those players are playing for contracts for next season. That's the only thing they've got to play for, is for contracts for next season. You know, we know what's happened at Swallows. We know the ins and outs there. So all those players that are playing there now are looking, I want to get a contract for next season. I want to get this. Not even there, looking at other clubs. Where can I get another contract where I can sign a better contract? So that's what they're playing for. When we say they've got nothing to play for, they're playing for themselves. It's not for the club, but they're playing for themselves. They are safe from relegation, which was their main aim, which they've done well. I was worried about Swallows the beginning of the new year. We saw what happened. But now it's all about themselves, all about players, how they can better themselves, where they can go, and if they can find a contract somewhere else or a better contract, and that's the big thing. But on the other hand, you've got Richards Bay, who now, what happens? We get relegated, or we go into the playoffs. It's a chance of relegation. What do I do as a player? So it's a big game.
You spoke about Pirates. You spoke about Stellies. Stellies already mentioned because they're playing Richards Bay. Pirates play a team that managed to wallow them this season, SuperSport United. And that's their last game of the campaign. And SuperSport now do know that the third position is within reach, or fourth position and third position are within reach with them winning a game. They're in the same battle with Cape Town City, Skukune United, TS Galaxy. They're all in the same bracket fighting for that position, which is good news for South Africa this year because unlike the previous year's season where it was only those in the Nedbank Cup will qualify for CAF position. Now the good news is that a team that's finishing fourth will find themselves also going into a CAF position.
So no one is cruising.
How do you therefore approach that game as one, the Pirates coach, that is Jose Riviero, and SuperSport, how do you approach that game? You have now gone 4 matches unbeaten as Gavin Hunt.
Because no one's future is certain. Again, it's a final. Coaches want to keep their jobs. Players want to make sure they're part of the squad next season. The transfer season is also now. And there's some players also, keep in mind, that are also thinking national team. There's World Cup qualifiers, there's things happening in the off-season. So some have other ambitions in trying to sell themselves. But everybody has to approach this game, whether you're SuperSport or Orlando Pirates, as this is the game to win. And traditionally, the Gauteng-Pretoria beef, so to speak, between the clubs, Chiefs, Pirates, SuperSport, Sundowns, always makes for rivalry. So that adds to the excitement of the game. They won't cruise into this match. They'll want to win it, whether there was something to play for or not. You are playing Pirates. You are playing SuperSport. You don't want to lose to them. SuperSport, I think they've done well in winning their last game. You need that going into this game against Pirates. Pirates need the win going into the Nedbank Cup final. They need some sort of momentum going into that game against Sundowns. They need some sort of upliftment, so to speak. So it makes it all the more interesting. They have to win. I can't see any other way. A draw is not good enough. You're not sure what the other sides are doing for both sides. So it's a final.
We'll leave the invisible one for the last one. 5 teams, all battling for that final spot in the top 8. Kaizer Chiefs, 8th, 36 points. Amazulu, just behind them, 36 points as well. Then you have Polokwane City, Golden Arrows, as well as Chippa United. All those teams are in with a chance to qualify for the last spot available in the top 8. Let's start with Chiefs, Cape Town Spurs. How do you see that one going?
Well, if you look at what's happened this season, Cape Town Spurs, they haven't been at the races. We said from day one they're going to get relegated. When they got rid of Sean, I said, boom, over and done. It's done. And it's happened. For them, it's just a matter of going out and enjoying the game, having fun. I would love to be playing against Chiefs because for them it's a point to prove those players. And Chiefs at the moment, they're so up and down. You don't know what Chiefs team are going to be going out there. We don't know what team's going to be out there. They don't even have the fans as the background to support them. So, you know what? It's like a normal game now. And for Cape Town Spurs, that's all a plus. I can't predict this one because, as I say, Chiefs are so unpredictable at the moment. We don't know where they are. So it's a difficult game. For me, if I'm the Cape Town Spurs manager, I'd just say, go out and have fun, boys. Go. We're out. We're relegated. Go have fun. Let's build for next season. Do your best and just enjoy the game.
And I'll say to some of them, sell yourselves. So for those that can be bought by another club to stay in the DSTV Premiership, score a brace against Chiefs and it could change your life next season.
Because especially with Chiefs, you look at it, the way if you look at some of their buying patterns over the years, they've been buying players that have been relegated, buying players that have even been in the relegation battle, so you never know.
Amazulu Arrows, who are you giving it to?
I think Amazulu should get the job done. Also Arrows have been unpredictable. Both teams unpredictable. And I know you don't like Amazulu.
No, I'm angry with Amazulu. I don't believe they should be where they are. When you look at that
squad, they should be higher. They've got a good squad. They've got a good squad. They've got a very good squad. I believe they should be higher. But you can say that for a few teams as well. True. So not just them.
Polokwane City, TS Galaxy.
I've got to go with Galaxy.
Let's talk about Chippa United, Skukune United. Chippa will be hosting this one, by the way.
That for me is probably the toughest one to call with Chippa's recent results. There was a time when things were going so well for Chippa. After they moved to East London, it's a home game for them. I'm hoping the support they've been able to get. We talk about Chiefs not getting support. They haven't had problems in that regard. Chippa, and that for me is a big factor. For a team like Chippa to get the support they're getting in the Eastern Cape, I think it was a big reason they went on that run of games where they were winning. And I think it could be a telling factor now at the end of the season if the fans come out.
The nice thing also is the good news is that Chippa United just had a contract extension in East London.
Great for them.
Playing at the BCM, which is huge money coming their way, investment coming their way as well. Now,
the community is embracing them as well.
There's always a but with Chippa. As long as the coach stays in his position.
The co-coaches this time around.
As long as they stay there, that is the but. That's always the but when it comes to Chippa.
But we're in agreement they've done a good job.
They've done a great job. They've done a very, very good job there.
Sundowns. Are they going to be invincible, or are we going to see Cape Town City coming to Gauteng and stop Imamredi Sundowns?
I like that they're playing City. In that it won't be an easy finish to the season. I think City's a solid team. I think they, over the years, have earned their stripes in the PSL, earned the respect they should be getting. Yes, they've maybe underperformed somewhat this season, in my opinion. But I think it's going to be a good game. I still don't know if Sundowns is going to be outright winners in that game. That's why I like the fixture even more.
That game, what does Sundowns do? Do they play their first team squad? All the first team players? Or do they rest them for Kafano? You've forgotten about the Kafano. So you've got to remember that. That's always going to be in his mind. But even if he plays the so-called second team squad, it's just better than the majority of the teams in the Premier League. So you look at that and you look at what they got at their disposal. I mean, it's brilliant. So he will rest a few players. This is what I believe. He will rest a few players. I just feel they won't get beaten. I think they'll be either winning or a draw, but they won't get beaten.
I need to ask you both this. How important is the Invincibles tag at the end of the season for Rolando Mgwena and for this generation of Sundowns players? For me, it's of vital importance. I'm just guessing. With the way they've celebrated even the draw against Galaxy and the win against Stellenbosch, the set penalty save against Stellenbosch. You saw the way the keeper reacted to that, Ronan Williams. It means to me, it matters to them. What do you guys think?
It always matters to them. People say we're not looking at it, we're not worried about it. They are worried about it. They're looking for it. We saw in the game midweek how they went about it. They were 1-0 down, got the goal. I mean, I thought it was a World Cup final with both sides of the story. I mean, the way they celebrated. I mean, come on. So it does. It's always in your mind. But as a player, you want to be remembered for something, and that's one of the things that they would be remembered for. Not because they've won all the titles, not because they've won this. That is one thing that you'll be remembered for. That's why you look at Arsenal. Everyone talks about Arsenal, the Invincibles. That's what it is
but
about.
They should call them as the Immortals. Because you live forever.
Exactly.
I'm going to stop it right there. That's very interesting. The Immortals. You know what is also key about this one? Rolando Mgwena is yet to lose a league game since taking over at Sundowns. And we're talking about the record. It will be 54. Can they do it? That's the big question. You heard what Shane and Sizwe to say? I'm not going to say click, bang. I want to say Eitadasu.
Click, bang.